The third day of Formula One testing didn't begin with chaos. In fact, for most of the morning, it looked like one of the calmest sessions we had seen all week. But that illusion didn't last long. Because just after midday, something happened. That instantly shifted the entire narrative of testing. And it wasn't a crash this time. It was something far more unexpected. It started with Max Verstappen. The reigning champion rolled out of the garage with quiet confidence, the kind that comes from years of dominance. Conditions were improving, the track was finally drying, and for the first time, teams could push a little harder. Everything looked normal, until it didn't. Halfway through what seemed like a routine flying lap, Verstappen suddenly backed off. No visible mistake, no spin, no gravel, just an abrupt loss of pace. At first, it didn't make sense. Then, the radio message came through. A problem. And just like that, the calm atmosphere was gone. The Red Bull slowed dramatically, limping back to the pits as engineers rushed out to meet it. No one knew exactly what had gone wrong, but one thing was immediately clear. This wasn't part of the plan, and in testing, even a small issue can reveal something much bigger. Because while everyone was watching Red Bull's dominance continue, something beneath the surface may have already started to crack. While Red Bull was dealing with uncertainty, another story was quietly building, on the other side of the paddock, and this one felt very different, because Ferrari wasn't chasing headlines. They were building something much more dangerous. Consistency. With the track finally offering better grip, Charles Leclerc returned to the car, and what followed was one of the most controlled performances of the entire test. Lap after lap. No drama. No mistakes, just precision. At first glance, it didn't look spectacular. There were no headline-grabbing times, no bold statements. But that was exactly the point. Ferrari wasn't trying to impress. They were trying to understand. And that's what made it so interesting. Because in Formula One, the teams that look the calmest during testing are often the ones hiding the most potential. Every lap Leclerc completed added another layer of confidence to a car that already looked stable. And then came the afternoon. This time, it was Lewis Hamilton behind the wheel. A new chapter, a new environment, and perhaps a new opportunity. But instead of pushing to prove something, Hamilton took a different approach. Measured, patient, almost surgical. He wasn't chasing speed. He was building a connection, and as the laps added up, something became increasingly clear. Ferrari might not be the loudest team right now, but they could be the most prepared. But while Ferrari and Red Bull were writing their stories on track, several major teams were doing something that felt almost counterintuitive. They stayed inside. Garages closed, cars untouched, engines silent. First, it seemed strange. Why waste valuable testing time? But the answer was hidden in the bigger picture. Because this isn't just any season. These are entirely new regulations, new systems, new limits, and for teams like Mercedes and McLaren, every lap matters too much to waste in imperfect conditions. So they waited, and that decision created a different kind of tension. Because the less we see from a team, the more we start to wonder, what are they hiding? McLaren, the reigning champions, still hadn't shown their full package. Not a single proper run in competitive conditions. And yet, expectations remained high. The same goes for Mercedes, a team that many believe could be the real threat this season. But without data, without laps, without visible performance, everything becomes speculation, and speculation can be dangerous. Because when these teams finally do hit the track, they won't just be joining the fight, they could completely redefine it. To understand what's really happening, you have to step back. Because this isn't just about testing laps or lap times. This is about adaptation. The 2026 Formula One cars are unlike anything we've seen before. New hybrid systems, advanced aerodynamics, and completely different handling characteristics. Even the best drivers are still searching for the limits. We've already seen small mistakes, unexpected moments, subtle struggles, and that's what makes this season so unpredictable. Because when the rules change this much, past dominance doesn't guarantee future success. A team that was untouchable last year can suddenly find itself vulnerable, and a team that struggled can quietly rise. That's why every detail matters right now. Every lap, every adjustment, every decision. Because once the season starts, there's no time left to figure things out, and right now, some teams look ready, others, not so much. As the sun began to set on day 3, one thing became very clear. We still don't have the full picture. Red Bull showed signs of weakness, but not enough to count them out. Ferrari showed stability, but not enough to declare them favorites, and the biggest names haven't even revealed their hand yet, which means everything is still open. But that's exactly what makes this moment so important. Because the next few days of testing won't just fill in the gaps, they could completely change the story. When the weather improves and every team finally commits to full runs, we'll start to see the real order emerge. The hidden pace, the real strengths, the potential weaknesses, and that's when the pressure truly begins. Because once everyone is on track together, there's nowhere left to hide. The countdown to the first race is getting shorter. The margins are getting tighter, and the questions are only getting bigger. Who really has the fastest car? Who has solved the new rules? And who is about to fall behind? We don't have the answers yet. But one thing is certain. The 2026 season isn't just building toward competition. It's building toward something much bigger, and if these first few days are any indication, we're only just getting started.